All right. Does everyone have their perfect square list? Hey, do you have your perfect square list? That wasn't cool when I was in second grade. It's still not. Your perfect square list out. You should be on this page. I think it's right after 22 question mark. Okay. Okay, I'll let y'all know. Brain's a little foggy. I'm at the like super tired.
15 minutes of sleep.
Yeah, I would like to, but no, we got stuff to do.
We do it really fast.
No, last night was the fever dreams. Y'all ever get that where the fever breaks and you just like start hallucinating in your sleep?
Are you having baby fever again?
Dear God, no. We shut that valve off 2 years ago. Okay. So I'm just super tired. Like, the whole family got sick. We all got tested and we're taking care of ourselves, but I'm just exhausted. So my brain ain't going to work very good, which means maybe you can get some brownie points out of me if y'all paying attention. Okay? Now I know we did the top row. Did we do number 5 question mark? We did 6 all the way to 7 and 8? Oh, sweet. Okay, did we go through all of them? Like we're all squared away on it? Sweet. Even better. Okay, so, oh no, then they put letters with it. Okay? You take them in pieces. What's the square root of 4? So if I have, I'm going to write it here just so I can write on this side. You know what? I'm going to... Get back here. Where's black? There's black. If the square root of 4 is 2, bring a 2 out. What's the square root of a squared? Just a. So who's left in radical jail?
No one.
No one. The answer is just 2a. That's it. Okay, now we did these already. Remember, these were in our book, or in the actual like packet material. We've already done this. What's the square root of 9? What's the square root of x to the 4th? X to the 2nd, right? You always cut it in half. What I want to show you is that if you need to, you can break this up like this. 9 and x to the 4th. And break this up as 3 by 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. And just like we were doing last time, if I have the square root of all this stuff, remember, how many does it take to get out of radical jail? A pair of them. They're going to buddy up, they're going to bum rush the guard, and you say, 3's rush the guard, 1 gets out. X's rush the guard, 1 gets out. X's rush the guard, 1 gets out. And then everything that's outside parties together. Everything that's inside parties together. Okay? So we did this when they were perfect squares. But you slide on over to the right here, 300 and 128 are not perfect squares. So this is combining what we were doing last time with the square root stuff from the previous. Break them up in their pieces. Say number part here, variable part here. Okay? What times what makes 300? 3 and 100. What times what makes 100?
10 times 10.
What times what makes 10? And a to the fourth is just a. Okay. If I'm to write that out longhand, I have a 2, a 2, a 3, a 5, a 5. An A, an A, an A, an A sounds slightly Canadian. Dare hey, don't you know? Actually, that's like Northeast North Dakota. Any pairs that you see, a 2 comes out, a 5 comes out.
And then 2 2.
So an A and an A comes out. So everything that's outside you multiply together. 2 times 5 is 10. A times A is A squared. But we're still going to have a 3 left in radical jail because he didn't have a buddy to escape radical jail with. Now, who recognized right out the gate, I didn't need to come down this far because 100 is on my perfect square list? Remember that square roots are about multiplication, just like exponents, which means there's more than one way to do the problem. I could have gone all the way back here. Now, Robert said a squared and a squared. Well, isn't that just because a to the fourth has an even exponent? It is a perfect square. I didn't have to keep going from that point. I could just say the square root of 100 is 10. The square root of a to the fourth is a squared. Looks like this guy dangling at the end of the branch is going to stay in radical jail. So it's shorthands, where I don't have to write it all out. I'd like you to try this one. Okay, whether you can find the biggest perfect square that goes in there, or you have to break it all the way down. And then circle pairs to take them out. I don't care which way you do it. You do which way is comfortable for you. But I do care that you do it instead of just sitting there waiting to copy things because you don't want to think, because that's not how you're going to earn your credit so you can get out of here.
Out of here?
Okay?
I can still get out of here. Drop out.
I mean, yeah. That's always an option. That's why my board is named Frank.
Because you dropped out?
Yes. Was a senior in pre-algebra for the 4th year running. He didn't do very good, so he dropped out. And that's sad. Because I know he could do it. Okay. Grab a calculator if you need to. I was gonna say it smells like salsa. So it's just confuzzled. Don't just stare at it, break it up. What times what makes 128? I'd recommend you start with 2s and then 3s and then 5s and then 7s, the prime numbers. Okay? I would recommend that you work your way up the ladder that way when you're breaking apart a number. If you got none of the last 3 problems written, you should not be dinking around. Okay? Y'all, basic divisibility rules. That ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. It's an even number, so what has to go into it? Even. What is even number? Even numbers are divisible by 2. If it ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, you know it's divisible by 2. So just start there. It's an even number. I know it's divisible by 2, so I say 128 divided by 2, it tells me. Best game system ever made. What times what makes 64? 8 and 8 fell on the floor, picked it up, 64. The only rhyme I remember from elementary school. 8 and 8, 4 and 2 apiece. And those 4s are each 2s. Y'all want to watch someone have their eyeballs nearly pop out of their sockets? Killian!
What?
Got your calculator?
Yeah.
Clear it. Just hit clear. Ready? 128. Hit the math button.
Oh, there you go.
4. Enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s at the end of this. Ruh-roh! Killian just got cheat codes. Okay? That particular calculator will do the prime factorization of any number. So I can write that out as that's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 slaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 C's. And you can circle a whole bunch of pairs. One comes out, one comes out, one comes out. One comes out, one comes out, one comes out. Multiply it all the way out. You should have 8c to the third on the outside. Still a lonely little 2 on the inside. Okay? Remember, that's 2 times 2 times 2. Don't add them together. Yes?
I have a random question.
You have a related question.
A random, but yeah. So when I broke down 128, I got 8 times 16. Did I do something wrong there?
No, you just did it a different way.
Okay.
Because if you do 128 is 8 and 16, that's 4 and 2, 2 and 2, 8 and 2, 4 and 2, 2 and 2. Look at what's still at the end of the branches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. It's still the same thing. You just got there a different route. Okay, what I would like you to start doing. Hey, what I'd like you to start doing, writing it out longhand like this, I hope you're seeing it works. It works every time, but it can take a long time to do. What I want us getting used to is instead, can I look at my perfect square list and look at the perfect squares below 300? Where's your perfect square list?
It ran away.
Okay, 300 is in between what and what?
300, 17 and 18.
Okay, It's in between 289 and 324. So start with 300 divided by 289. Does it work? 300 divided by 169 or 256 and then 225 and on and on and on. You see which perfect square goes in there and you find out 100 is the biggest one. You recognize this is even power, so I just write it. Because boy, is it easier to just say 10a squared, like that. But you have to know your perfect squares, you have to know your multiplication facts to do that. It's so much easier to write this as 2 times 64 times c to the 6th. Because the square root of 64 is 8, and the square root of c to the 6th is c to the 3rd. Look at how much faster it is if you know your perfect squares. Okay? You can write it out longhand, but it's going to take you longer. Oh no, there's numbers inside and outside. Who's outside of radical jail can party. Who's inside radical jail can party. I gave it like a 3.5. Okay. Also, if you need to, y'all, that's number 13. That's not 13.4. Might be a little bit hard to see that. It's real simple. Whoever's outside of radical land goes together. The 4 and the 3 are both out of radical land. Whoever's in radical land goes together. Okay? Outside with outside, inside with inside. I should not have to talk over you, and I am more than happy to not show you any of this and just say, do everything. Whatever's inside goes together. Whatever's outside goes together. Okay? Inside with inside, outside with outside. If you're multiplying them, radical jail with radical jail, out of jail with out of jail. But then you have to make sure that you still simplified it. So can I break down 60? Does anyone know a perfect square that goes into 60? 6 isn't a perfect square. 20 isn't a perfect square. Okay, so if we don't know off the top of our head, we're stuck. If we're stuck, we get out the shovel and start shoveling snow out from under your truck. Okay?
No, you just keep on ramping until she frees up.
Yeah, that doesn't always work.
Yeah, it does. I do it all the time. I don't carry a shovel.
Well, good for you. That doesn't always work. You break up that inside radical jail as much as you can. So if this is 2 by 2 by 3 by 5, who can get out of radical jail? Pair of 2s. A pair of 2s, one gets out. What's outside of radical jail goes together. 2 by 12 is 24. What's inside radical jail still stays together. 15. What I'd like you to get used to is that you don't have to do it one specific way. What if I were to write this as 4 by 3? What if I broke these up right now? and said 10 is 2 and 5, 6 is 2 and 3. Would that have been faster? Because we ended up having to break apart 60 anyway. I just have to remember that I'm crossing out a pair of 2's. 1 gets out. I'm still getting 24 on the outside. I'm still getting 15 on the inside. It's just a different way to do it. 14 takes that same idea, and now you got letters in there. They have variables in the radicals. Doesn't matter. You do the same stuff. What's outside stays outside. What's inside goes with what's inside. And look at what happens when I just write it all. I can start combining the concepts. See how you got a pair of 3's? 1 gets out of radical jail. What's the square root of x squared? Just x. What's the square root of x to the 4th? X squared. So I'll throw an x squared out there. Everything that's outside of radical jail parties. 3 times 3 is 9. X to the 1st times x to the 2nd. This is why we spent all that time on those exponent rules. X to the 3rd. And there's nobody left in radical jail, so it's done. Okay? Next to that, 15, 16. Give them a whirl. 15 and 16. Break up what you can, take out what you can. Break up what you can, take out what you can. Robert, you don't even have your packet out. You don't even, not even trying, dude. So, well, if you can't class today, then don't be in class.
When you expect me to go to the rooftop of the building?
If you want to. I would say down the hall would be a better option, though. Okay? But we're not just going to sit here and take a nap.
If you want.
Yeah, but we're done with that. Okay? If you've heard the phrase, give them enough rope to hang themselves with,
No, say it.
I just did.
It's boring.
It's the idea that I will give you enough slack, I will give you enough freedom, enough privilege, enough respect and responsibility.
So I can hang myself? What?
And then if you use it unwisely, like tangle yourself up in a mess, hang yourself from the gutter like Chevy Chase, with his Christmas lights, well, then that's what you did with it. Robert.
Didn't hang myself.
Okay? No, it means she's either you get your packet out and you're working with us, or you head down to the other room, okay? You're not just going to sit here. And I'm not going to have the time to babysit a senior to walk you down there.
Oh, I don't need babysat.
Okay? Come on, bud. I know you want your credit. I know you want to get out of here. So join in with us so we can get you your credit and get you out of here. What times what makes 20? Okay. What times what makes 10? So if I say 2 by 2 by 5, take out the pieces that you can. There's a pair of 2s, one gets out. A squared, who comes out? B to the 4th, who comes out? So everyone that's outside multiplies together, smashes together. Everyone that's inside stays inside. 2ab squared, root of 5. Now, I'm not going to break apart 100 because I hope y'all recognize 100 is just a perfect square. But we kept dividing our exponents by 2. What's 3 divided by 2? Can you take out 1.5 x's? Can you have 1.5 pencils in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Can your family actually have 2.1 children? Okay. Are you saying someone who is in any way physically disabled is less than a person?
Disappointing. You should be ashamed of your friend. You said that first. You said that. Get him out. You should be ashamed of your friend.
Don't walk into that one. Okay. Here's how this works. If I see x to the 3rd, it's an odd number. Odd numbers can't be broken in half evenly because they're not even. What if I broke this into x to the 2nd times x? There's only like 3 people actually paying attention to this, so I think I might just quit there and say the backside is yours.
Holy buckets. Okay.
If you have a variable to an odd exponent, you take one of them off. So now you have an even exponent. Because if I turn this into x squared and x, that's still 3 x's altogether. It's still x cubed. I just gave it a makeover. Now who comes out? What's the square root of 100? Square root of x squared. So you break it apart, just like I can break numbers apart into perfect squares. I can break these apart into a perfect square or not. Everything that's outside parties with outside. Everything that's inside stays inside. You're going to have an x and a y still stuck in radical jail. And seeing the utter lack of engagement with it, I will say flip it over, the entire backside, go. You got 55 minutes and your nonverbal language is telling me that either you don't care, in which case you're not going to do this anyway, or you get it and you're bored, in which case you can now get going. I am responding to what you have shown me.